Hi, it's Vicky, and I'm here with another alcohol ink painting process to show you. This one was super special to me because it was a gift for my daughter's 25th birthday. She turned 25 at the end of June. I don't know when you're watching this, but anyway, she's 25. And she has this beloved cat, and I wanted to do a picture of her cat. Now, when I usually do my alcohol ink paintings, I have no idea what they're going to be, what I'm going to paint in them. And so I just do a random background and then kind of decide after that what animal would look good in the painting. But this one, I had to do the opposite because I knew what I was painting and I had to choose colors for the background that I thought would complement the animal that I was going to be painting, the cat. And so I chose these greens and yellows and oranges because her cat has green eyes and he's kind of a brown tabby. And I just thought it would look good. He's got like a little orange nose. And I don't know, I just thought that these colors would really complement him. So I did the background and kind of put an outline from the picture that I had of him and made the outline. And then I blocked out some of the shapes with my Q-tips and just isopropyl alcohol. I kind of take some of that ink off to block out some of the shapes. And then I wanted in this one, the brown that I was using to mix a little bit with the background color. So I didn't remove a lot of the ink because I wanted it to mix a little bit so that it would give some unity to the picture, kind of like an underpainting. If you've ever done watercolor painting or even like oil painting, you can do an underpainting, especially with watercolor. If you do an underpainting, then whatever color you put down first is going to influence all the other colors that you put on top. And so that's kind of my rationale with not removing a lot of the color before I started adding in color. And when I add color, I use alcohol ink markers because it gives me a lot more control than the alcohol ink right out of the bottles, because that bottled ink is really runny and kind of will go everywhere, and I want to have control over where my ink goes. So I use a paintbrush with alcohol ink on it, just a little bit. You don't need a lot. And that allows me to push the alcohol ink around on my page. That's what I use that paintbrush for, just to push the inks around into the places that I want them to go. Alcohol ink is really great because you can get so many amazing textures with it. And I it's really great for fur. You'll see that it looks so good, but you can do so many different textures. I've done reptiles. The texture of the reptiles look really good. Even some aquatic animals, just any kind of textures work really, really well with alcohol ink. And you can get those, with just a paintbrush with some isopropyl alcohol on them. I use 99% isopropyl alcohol. That's all I've ever used. I've heard you can use 91%. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I just use what I have. The alcohol inks that I use, I don't have expensive ones. I just have cheap ones from Amazon that I got because I was going to do some resin art. And so I bought them to color the resin with. But then I ended up being like super allergic to resin, like crazy allergic. My hands were cracking and I had gloves on, you guys. I would like double glove, long sleeves. I even had a respirator that I got that my husband had trying to do this resin, and it messed me up. I would have headaches and I am just super allergic. So no resin art for me, but I had this alcohol ink. So that's why I decided to try using it. And I watched some videos on Epic Earth Arts. If you haven't been on there yet, get on there and check it out, epiceartharts.com. There's lots of art tutorials on there, and it's like a community forum. It's really great. And I watched a couple of videos, learned a little bit about alcohol ink, and then I just went for it. And it's been a really great experience. I absolutely am obsessed with alcohol inks, and I feel like I finally found my medium. Although I've been painting my whole life, I've done watercolor painting and oil painting and acrylic painting. I've done painting on silk. I've done painting with wool. I do needle felting. I'm just one of those artists that kind of do a lot of different things. And so this was just another challenge for me. I feel like if you're a good painter, you could paint with anything. I'm also an art teacher, and I always tell my students, like, if you learn how to paint and you learn the properties of the paint, you can paint with anything. Like, I could probably do a really good painting with just ketchup and mustard. Like, I really feel like I could. I've never tried it though. Someday I will. Anyway, so this is my daughter's cat. How cute is he, right? He's just a really beautiful cat. And I was so excited to give this to her. She just absolutely loved it. At the end of the video, I'll show a picture of her with the painting when she got it. I can't believe my daughter's 25. I've got a 25-year-old and almost 23. So time goes fast, you guys. Just enjoy. If you have little ones, just, oh my gosh, enjoy them because they grow so fast. But they're also fun when they're adults too. My girls are still so fun. Yeah. Anyway. So as you can see, I am just pushing those inks around. I keep adding more ink. Sometimes I take ink away. You can see those colors that are kind of blended in also from the background. You can see where the green was, there's still some green. Where the orange was, there's still some orange. That is giving it unity so that the animal feels like it's supposed to be in that background. That's important, right? You don't want it to look like you just stuck it on there. Okay, you want it to feel like it's supposed to be there. Okay, so the eyes. I feel like the eyes of these animals that I do are the most important part. So really take care when you're doing the animal eyes. If you're doing this, if you're painting animals, make sure you get all the highlights and all the different colors. And I feel like, if you can get the eyes right, then your whole painting's going to look really, really good. I try not to mess with the backgrounds once I get them done because it's really hard to you can't get that fluid feeling back. It's just almost impossible. Once it's done, it's done. And so I mean I have reworked backgrounds before, but I've never been able to replicate that fluidity. With this one, the only piece of the background I really had to manipulate was right kind of between his legs there. There's that kind of light spot, and I did end up putting some darker color in there, but I think it worked. It was just a small enough spot that it worked. And if you're wondering what this thing around his neck is he's got an air tag that he wears. And I almost didn't put it in, but I thought it's him. Like he wears an air tag around his neck. Like she's just to make sure that if he gets out that my daughter can find him. And I thought I got to put the air tag in because it's just part of him now. He always has the air tag on. So that's what that round thing is that's in front there. I don't know why. Oh, I was like, why did the video stop? That's so funny. I must have just got up and walked away and came back to it. So that's funny. But anyway, we'll just leave that in there. But so I just am putting more of the darks in. When you're doing a painting, you want to make sure you have a nice range of value in there. Value is the lightness or darkness of colors. So you want to make sure you have your darkest darks and your lightest lights. And if you decide not to put in darkest darks and lightest lights, guess what? That's okay because it's your painting and you can do it however you want. Okay, there's no big rules and nobody. If people come to you and say, oh, they're trying to critique your painting, don't listen to them. It's your painting. You get to do what you want. You can take the criticism and, I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me to criticize people because art is so subjective, right? And what I like might not be what you like. When you like might not be what I like. So I don't feel like it's really fair to say, unless somebody asks my opinion and then I'll say, well, I might darken this up or lighten that up, but I'm not going to tell them their painting is bad for any reason because it never is. Like I said, it's very subjective. So, just using a Q-tip to kind of remove some of that ink and push it around a little bit and get it where I want it. So you're going to see in a minute that I'm going to put whiskers on his face. Now, I do not use alcohol ink for those whiskers. I use something called Dr. Martin's Bleed Proof White, and it is something that I used to use. See, there's the whiskers. I used to use it when I did watercolor painting, but it works really good on these alcohol ink paintings, but it is not alcohol based. It is water based. And so this painting I did have to spray and seal. Well, all of the alcohol ink paintings that I do, I spray with a Demar varnish and then I seal them with UV resin because they will fade. So you have to spray them like 2 or 3 coats at least of the UV resin. Okay, but this guy is just about done. So this is Fiyero. How cute is he? Oh my gosh. I have a website, vickyjessing.com. There's my daughter. Aw, love her so much. Thanks.